What's going on YouTube? CEO on the making, back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about how to get a dealer's license. If you haven't seen any of my other videos where I talk about buying and selling cars as one of my part-time hustles, make sure you check those out. I'll leave little links, pop-ups right here so you can click on those and check those out if you're interested. So a few people left comments on those videos saying that they would like me to do a video talking about how to get a dealer's license so that you can buy and flip cars. So that's what today's video is going to be about. So without further ado, let's get into it. So real quick, you may be wondering why you will need a dealer's license to buy and flip cars. You may be thinking that, I can do that on my own. All I got to do is go out and buy cars from individuals, up the price and resell them to make money like that. While you can do that, I know that there are certain regulations on how many cars you can sell, within a year without a dealer's license. So, I'm not sure how they track it and how they regulate it. It's probably different from state to state, but I know that there are certain rules and laws in place that say that you can only sell so many cars per year if you're not an actual dealer. So that's one reason that you would need a dealer's license in order to buy and flip cars. Another reason that having a dealer's license is good or is helpful as far as buying and flipping cars is because it gives you one central location to get cars from. You know what I'm saying? I know some dealers or some people would much rather, like I said, buy cars from individuals because you can get good deals. If you're a good negotiator, you can get a good deal buying cars from individuals versus going to an auction. Dealer auctions don't always give you the cheapest prices or the lowest prices. They're just convenient. You know what I'm saying? It gives you one location. It takes place every week at the same time. You can go look at the cars that they have. If you're interested, you can bid on them. You can get them, like I said, in one central location. Whereas if you're buying cars from individuals, you gotta work around their schedule. Hope that their schedule lines up with your schedule. You gotta go out, meet them, hope that they show up. You know what I mean? And negotiate with them and do all that. So it's a lot more legwork as far as trying to buy cars from individuals. That's another good option too. I'm not opposed to buying cars from individuals, but having a dealer's license and going to dealer wholesale auctions, it's just convenient. Like I said, it's one location. They happen each and every week at the same time. They're predictable, they're convenient. And it's just a good option to have if you're looking at getting into the business of buying and selling cars. So before I jump into actually how to get a dealer's license, I just want to touch on real quick the types of people that I think should look into getting a dealer's license, and buying and selling cars. So, number one, if you're a mechanic or you're good with fixing up on cars and that type of thing, this would be a good potential, side gig for you because you can find cars that may need a little bit of work, a little TLC that you can get for cheap. If you put some sweat equity, some sweat labor into it, save some labor, labor costs. You're not having to take it to a shop or another mechanic. If you can do it yourself and you're experienced with that, this would be a good opportunity for you to try and make some money. So if you are a mechanic, or like I said, if you're just good at fixing up on cars, this would be something to look into. Aside from that, if you have a full-time job, but your schedule is flexible, you're able to kind of adjust your schedule on the go, on the fly, to be able to go to auctions and look at cars and buy cars and meet with potential customers to sell cars. This would also be a possible, way to make some money for you, something to look into at least. So that's kind of the boat that I'm in. I have a regular job that that's my main source of income, but it's flexible enough to where I can attend auctions, for the most part throughout the week and look at cars, buy cars, go show cars to people that are interested in that type of thing. And then also you have to have some disposable income that you can put towards, buying and selling these cars. If you don't have that, it's not really something that I would recommend. Because it's going to take some money, at least a couple $1,000s to get going, and to actually buy cars, it's going to take money. So most of the cars, are going to be the cheapest cars that you'll find will probably be around like $1,000. If they're any cheaper than that, they're really not. Then they're going to need a lot of work to get them in sellable condition. But you know, if you're interested in actually getting some decent quality cars, I mean, it's going to take a couple grand. So if you have that type of disposable income to put into something like this would also be something for you to potentially look at as a way of making money. Okay, so before I go any further, the requirements to get a dealer's license are going to be different depending on where you live. So I live in Missouri. So the things that I'm going to speak to you about are going to be relating to the requirements to get a dealer's license in Missouri. So ultimately, if you're going to pursue something like this, getting a dealer's license, you're going to have to do some research depending on the state that you live in to find out what is actually needed to get a dealer's license. You can call like your local DMV, find a phone number, call them, tell them that you're interested in getting a dealer's license, ask them what you'll need, what kind of paperwork, etc. So you will have to fact check that depending on where you live. So there's kind of two different routes that you can take as far as getting a dealer's license. So the first route that you could take is going through all the steps required to get a dealer's license and open up a car lot, the whole 9 yards. You could do it that way, but that would be more so for somebody that's ready to like just jump all in and take on selling cars like full time. Like you're serious about opening up like an actual car lot and dedicating all your resources towards that to start earning an income. The other option would be like myself. I do this on the side. This is a part-time hustle for me. So the other option and what I recommend is to find a dealer, someone who's already a dealer, and trying to work out something with them to work underneath them, forming some type of a partnership with them so that you can work under their dealership and buy and purchase cars so that it benefits them as well as you. So the way that I got involved in selling cars, buying and selling cars, is I'm basically a part of a dealership that consists of 3 different people, and we went into it together and we split kind of the costs associated with the dealer's license. Now, one thing that is required for you to get a dealer's license, you have to have a location that can serve as a place to like keep cars. You have to have an actual location where you could park some cars and people could come look at them. You have to have an office space. You got to have like signs displaying your dealership name and everything. So that's one major requirement that you'll need is an actual location. Now, one of the people that I'm a part of this dealership with, they run another type of business and they already had a location that we knew would work for a dealership, getting it approved. So that was very convenient because it was already in place. We didn't have to get a separate location. We already had a location that would work. So that's not like an extra step that we had to take. So that's kind of my situation. So I don't actually have a car lot or anything. I operate under a dealership that is associated with an actual lot and location. But I personally do not have a car lot to keep cars. When I buy cars, I take them home to my house and park them in my driveway. I don't have a physical location. So I recommend trying to find someone who's already a dealer that would be willing to work with you potentially to operate and buy cars underneath their dealership in a way that benefits the both of you. So I would ask around, I would ask family, I would ask friends, if they know anybody that's a dealer that you could possibly talk to. You could put something on Facebook even, and say, hey, I'm looking into getting into the car selling business. If anyone knows a dealer I could talk to, et cetera, et cetera. You could put an ad on Craigslist. Dealers on Craigslist all the time trying to get their cars sold. So, you could put an ad there, just explaining like, hey, I'm interested in getting into buying and selling cars. I would love to speak with, a dealer that may be interested in setting up a partnership with me. I'd be willing to pay like a monthly fee or a fee per car that I buy. etc. So, just get creative, you know what I'm saying? And try and, like I said, try and find somebody that's already a dealer that may be willing to work with you. And you have to present it in a way that's beneficial for the both of you. Like I said, let them know that, I'm willing to pay a certain fee, whatever we need to do to set this up, because I'm very serious about this and I'm very interested in this. And make it legit. If you do find somebody, put together a contract, that specifically outlines everything, so that, you're covered as well as the dealer is covered. Because, a dealer, they've already gone through jumping through the hoops of getting their dealer's license and everything. So that's their main concern. They don't want to do business with somebody that's going to potentially harm their business. So, you would want to put it in writing, like put together a contract that states, I'm operating under this person's dealer's license as far as buying cars, but everything that I do is solely on my own. You know what I mean? It doesn't affect them and what they have going on, blah, 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 etc. And then if things do move forward and you actually do get in partnership with a dealer, you would want to make sure that when you're selling cars, that the buyer knows that they're buying this car from you. They're not buying it from the dealer that you work with, because technically that's who's going to own the vehicles that you buy. It's going to be under their dealers, like, their dealership. So they need to understand that they're buying this car from you and not the dealer. So if something goes wrong, they need to come to you and not the dealer, and it doesn't harm the dealer's reputation. So, you just want to be very clear, very straightforward, and outline everything so there's no confusion and both parties know what's going on, and you guys know what's going to happen for certain scenarios, if they take place, if there's an issue or whatever it is. So, and like I said, the car would technically belong to the dealer. So you also want to, put something in writing saying that when you're buying these cars, they are yours and that you have the right to buy and do what you want with them, buy and sell them for the amount that you want, etc., in exchange for whatever fee or whatever it is that you guys agree upon. So that's going to be the easiest way to get into buying and selling cars. You're not technically starting your own dealership or getting your own license. You would just be operating under another person's, but you're accomplishing the same goal of buying and selling cars legally. So that's what I would recommend. That's going to be the easiest way to get into the business, if you're interested anyway. So another thing, taxes, you would have to keep that straight. You'd have to log everything that you're spending, the amounts that you're selling them for. You'd have to keep all that straight so that your tax liability and the dealer's tax liability can be easily calculated and sorted out. You know what I mean? So, it's doable. Like I said, that's going to be the easiest way to approach it if you do know somebody or if you can find somebody. Now, the other way to go about it is to actually apply and go through all the steps to get your own dealer's license established. Now, that's going to be a much longer process and it's going to require more. So, like I said, this is going to be more for somebody who's serious about going into this full time and really dedicating their resources into this, and just jumping all the way into it. So, for one, like I said, contact your local state authorities, your local DMV, find out if they can get you a list of requirements for what you need for your specific state to get a dealer's license. And then there's going to be some paperwork involved, so you should be able to get that from them as well. So for Missouri, there is an application process, so you would have to get the appropriate paperwork to start filling that out. You would need to establish an actual business, like an LLC. So you would have to file that, with the Secretary of State, or depending on where you live, whatever the appropriate steps are. You would need to research that. There will be some research involved on your end to determine exactly what you need. But you will have to get the appropriate application paperwork. You will need to establish an actual business if you don't already. So an LLC. You will have to get insurance, liability insurance. So you would have to call to some different insurance companies and say, hey, I'm trying to get my dealer's license up and going. Can you talk to me about any insurance products that you have that would cover that? And you'll need a bond, so you can research that as well. Just go to Google, type in dealer's license bond, and a bond is, I mean, it's kind of like, it's something in place to protect customers if they feel like you're doing something shady. Basically, like, they can make a claim against your bond. I don't know, it's kind of difficult to explain, but it is required for Missouri, I know, and probably most other states is probably required too. So you would need to get a bond as well, and that's not too expensive. Now with that, they do typically run like a background check and a credit check. So, you know, if you have any concerns there that may prohibit you from getting your dealer's license, I know for Missouri, there's also a class that they make you go to. It's like a couple hours long, some type of a seminar where they talk about the do's and don'ts and things like that. So that may apply to you depending on where you live. I'm trying to think. A location, like I said, you will need an actual location. So somewhere that you can conduct business, like an office, where you can do paperwork and put together deals for customers. Somewhere that you can keep files, like, you know, a file cabinet to where you can lock it, keep it safe. Somewhere that you can actually park vehicles and customers can come view the vehicles to see if they want to purchase them. And the location, it has to be in an appropriate area to where it'll get approved. So once you do all the paperwork and apply and everything, the state actually sends someone out to inspect your location to make sure that it is good enough to get approved. So you got to have the proper signs in place that display your business name, your dealership name, and there's other list of requirements that the location must meet. And you know, this, like I said, the state will send someone out to check, you know, everything off the list to make sure that your location meets the requirements before you can actually get your dealer's license. So location, insurance, bond, seminar, and that's for Missouri anyway. That's mostly it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There may be some differences depending on where you live, like I said, but hopefully this information that I'm giving will help you get started at least and give you some ideas or lead you in the right direction. So that's really it. And, you know, if you haven't seen any of my videos where I talk about you know, buying and selling cars, I only have a couple so far. I plan to put up more videos about that. So, you know, stay tuned for that. And you know, if this video was helpful for you guys, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. You know, I'm seeing new subscribers every day, so I appreciate you guys for watching the videos and subscribing to the channel. But other than that, you know, see you on the making. Until next time, I'm out.